Guys, I'd like to go over our recruiting class. I want to thank our coaches and our players and all our administrative staff and all our support for doing a tremendous job on Zoom meetings. Academic Center working with us on Zoom meetings. We've been working on this class almost 2 years. I'll just go over them really quickly. I'm very proud. I think that there's a couple of places that we need to fill some holes on the offensive line. We didn't sign enough offensive line, but other than that, I feel that we have a pretty solid class. Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, outstanding young man, great character, had a tremendous year from Marcus High School in Flower Mound, Texas. His daddy played for the Saints. His mother went to McNeese. He got a lot of Louisiana ties. And he actually was a leader for us in recruiting. Outstanding young man. Running back, I got to thank Kevin Falk. The reason I hired him, I thought he could go get two of the best backs in the country, and he did. And Armoni Goodwin was a big get for us. Big-time running back, has a great leverage, can make you miss. Keiner had an outstanding season from Cincinnati, Ohio. Reminds me a lot of Clyde. Two guys that Kevin worked very hard to get, and he did a great job of it. Wide receiver, Jack Bech from St. Thomas. Those guys are having a tremendous year. He's doing a great job. He can play wide receiver, tight end. Chris Hilton, 7'1" foot high jumper, great athlete, great young man. Malik Neighbors, Malik is a guy that came to camp. Malik's a guy we had an eye on. A scholarship came open. We called him. He called us back. He wanted to come. We're really glad we had him. Deion Smith, the #1 player in the state of Mississippi. Reminds me a lot of Justin Jefferson, excellent player. And Jalen Shead, at tight end, 6'4", 240, Olive Branch. Had several big-time schools after him. We got him. Offensive line, Coach Craig did a tremendous job of getting Garrett Dellinger up in Clarkston, Michigan. Great player. I mean, excellent player. Could have won anywhere in the country. Coach Craig did a great job of recruiting him and his parents. On the defensive line, Zavier Carter, he's from Arden Key School. Reminds me of Arden Key. Looks like Arden Key. Weighs 205 pounds coming out of high school. The rusher, I think he's going to be a great player for us. Landon Jackson, big, tough, physical kid from Texas, Canada. By the time we get somebody from that area, we have to fend off the Texas schools. They came hard at the end for him, but his mom and dad went to McNeese. They had Louisiana ties. A great young man. Maason Smith, obviously the #1 player in the state of Louisiana, the #1 player ranked in some services from Terrebonne, Louisiana. Coach Mack started it all off, but I got to give Christian Lacouture the credit, man. He stuck with him and stayed with him. Mason, a great young man, great character. Glad to have him in the state of Louisiana. At linebacker, Greg Penn, 6'1", 225 from the Mather Catholic, Baltimore. Outstanding player. I came on an unofficial visit with his parents, fell in love with the place. The guy that really came on strong at the end. We needed a junior college player or graduate transfer. And Navonteque Strong, call him Bug, 6'1", 230 out of Mississippi Gulf Coast, the #1 JC linebacker in the country. Outstanding job by Alex, our graduate assistant, who basically recruited himself, did a great job. We needed safeties. We went out getting the #1 safety in the country, the #3 safety in the country, and perhaps diamond in the rough at Matthew Langlois. I know he is. He's going to be a tremendous player. And, start with Sage Ryan, big battle with all the schools. It came down to the end. Corey Raymond and Kevin Falk did a great job. This was a must-get for us. It turned things around for us when we needed it, okay? Derrick Davis, #3 safety in the country, also a great running back. Bill Bush recruited him from Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Great player. Matthew Langlois from Catholic High Point, compete tough. He's a guy that probably going to wear number 18 one day. He's an excellent player, excellent young man. Cornerback, Corey Raymond, Damarius McGhee was committed to another school. Corey stayed on him. We need him. And the specialist, we got the #1 punter, in our opinion, in the country out of West Monroe. Coach Mack did a great job in Peyton Todd. Today was No Repeat Thursday. Our guys are ready to go. This is going to be a tremendous challenge. Like I said at the beginning, Lane's done an outstanding job with his team at Ole Miss, a very explosive offense. It's senior night. We're playing in senior afternoon, playing in Tiger Stadium. We have some momentum built. We got to build on that momentum and we want to walk out that stadium winners. Any questions?
Hey, Coach, I know you talked a lot about offensive line and wanted to add some more offensive linemen. I just kind of wanted to ask you about some of the guys who are already on your roster right now. Maybe we're not thinking about them, like a Marcus Dumerville, for example, and guys like that. With 9 months of weightlifting and getting stronger, can those guys be an impact next year?
Yeah, they can. And Jock, I think that you're going to be surprised about the retention level that we have. I've talked to a lot of guys, and now things can happen, but right now, a lot of them are leaning coming back. I'm recruiting the heck out of that offensive line. Maybe we can get 2 or 3 guys back, which would really help us.
Hey, Ed, I'm sure we'll get to some recruiting questions in a second, but I just want to check in on some of the injured guys from Saturday. Derek Stingley, John Emery, Davis Price, Jason Hines, some of them.
Yeah, Jason and Tyrone are not going to play. They're out. The other guys practice a little bit, not much. I would say both of them are questionable going into the game. They could play, they could not. It all depends how they feel in the next couple of days.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach. I was also going to ask about injuries, but I mean, just have you guys decided on a quarterback for this week? I mean, how's Max been doing with this?
Yeah, we haven't decided yet. We'll usually decide on a Friday and we'll look at the whole week's work, but it looks like it's going to be Max. He had another great week, so has TJ. We'll have no problem playing both, but we're going to decide tomorrow, but it looks like it's going to be Max.
And then just kind of a quick follow-up. I mean, just kind of how would you assess this class right now and kind of where you guys are standing? Do you think you've kind of set yourselves up here for a really great run kind of down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are going to help. I mean, the skill is unbelievable. The defensive line, we have a couple of defensive linemen out there that we're going to get, and we just can't talk about right now. And we feel good about the defensive line class. And we feel good about how we're going to finish. We have some outstanding prospects on the offensive line, graduate transfers that we think we're in very good shape with, but we got to finish and close strong. But offensive line will be the key in closing.
Coach, you've talked in some past years about guys that had been committed for a while but didn't sign in the December period and how to approach that in the subsequent months. What's your mindset with some of those type of situations that you guys have on hand this year?
Good. They never were Tigers to me. I want guys that want to be here, and if that happens at the end, so be it. We've done pretty well here. We won national championships. We've had guys decommit to us and go into other schools. That's up to them. I want guys that want to be here. I coached with Dennis Erickson at the University of Miami. We won 2 national championships. And I'll never forget that I was a young coach. It was my first year as a full-time coach recruiting. He says, don't worry about the ones you didn't get. Make sure the ones that you get are right for this place. I think that's our focus right now.
In terms of some of the guys that didn't necessarily sign elsewhere, though, that maybe are trying to wait until February, how do you approach some of that?
Well, here's the way I look at it. If you committed to us, you're going to sign in December. And I told them that. If you don't sign in December, I don't consider you committed to us because you could have signed. Now, we have a certain amount of scholarships left. After we look at the signing class, we're going to put in priority who we need to sign, what's best for our football team. And everyone that was committed, I gave them an opportunity to sign. Now, that doesn't mean I won't sign them back, but now there's a priority list.
The third-ranked signing class, and you got 4 wins. I mean, just the grind that you guys did to do that. Like, is it satisfying? I know you're not done, right, by any stretch of imagination, but to pull that coup, I mean,
yeah,
that's unheard of,
Yeah, well, thank you, but it's expected. I mean, that's what we expect. We talk about the LSU standard performance, and that's what I expect of myself and my staff. And the national championship may be forgotten by a lot of people by now, but it wasn't forgotten by these players. I mean, these players watched it, they see it, they believe it. The win in the swamp really helped us, playing the freshmen, and plus the personal relationships we have with these guys.
You talk about the relationships, and you piqued my curiosity about like re-recruiting these guys to come back. What is the key? Is it to just be as honest with them as you can, and maybe hurt their feelings to a degree of like, hey, we've seen these guys in your situation before not have the success that you wanted? Come back and give it another shot. You literally had nothing to lose. Is that kind of the approach is?
I give you an example. I had the offensive line, those guys that can go or stay, and we had some shrimp po' boys and some fries for them at lunch. So I sat down and just had a good little lunch with them and talked to them about it and say, listen, you know, if you're a first, second round draft choice or maybe a third, you have to go. Look at your grade. If you're a 6 or 7, why don't you stay and have the opportunity to be a second or third or fourth or first round draft choice? So I had that conversation with all of them. Believe it or not, right now, but things can change, a lot of them are leaning on coming back. It must be the shrimp po' boy.
Ed, I mean, you talked earlier about your relationship with Lane Kiffin earlier this week. We talked to him as well, and he said y'all were close and that y'all got closer after your father passed. And we talked to others about the game ball after Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask you what that gesture meant to you in that moment.
I'll never forget that. I buried my dad on a Thursday. I was really close. Lane, in fact, got a private plane for me, a private jet from Los Angeles, California, flew to Mandeville, Louisiana, and to South Bend, Indiana, and they paid for it. And I'll never forget that at the school. You know, I did the eulogy for my father, and we won the game. He gave me a game ball, and I really appreciate that. That made us more than a coaching relationship. That was a friendship that will last forever.
Hey, Coach, this is Shea Dixon with 24/7. When you think about the dead period and not being able to have spring evals and then summer camp, not doing in-home visits, not doing official visits, which one of those things kind of hurts y'all or hurts a team the most in terms of?
Well, first of all, thank you, Shane. And I do know who you are. You can introduce yourself, but I kind of know who you are. That's good. Hey, you know, I never thought we could sign a class like this without all the things you just mentioned. I thought there were necessities. Camp, and I still think they are. Official visits, going out and evaluate the guys. I mean, that's part of recruiting that I've been used to all my life. So I think you look at all those things. If one may have hurt us, it's official visits, coming into campus, and 2 is me going into the homes. I think when you go into the homes, especially the head coach, you can close, you can figure out what's going on, go to the schools. We couldn't do that. And at the end, I think it may have hurt us on a couple of players, but you know what? I'm not worried about that. I really am pleased with all the guys that we got.
Hey, Coach, Ole Miss had a couple of guys opt out today. This is going on around the country, and if, you know, some people fear it may continue even without COVID in the future. How will you approach that as far as keeping guys interested and not losing them to the transfer portal or whatever?
You know, it's a fine line, Glenn. It's the coaching's different today, and you know, it's not only coaching football; it's managing your team and making sure that everybody's in a good spot mentally, physically, spiritually. You know, this how you handle your football team and get close to them, and you know, we have a good support system here. Now, we had a lot of guys opt out, but it hasn't been recently, and these guys decided they're going to stay. Now, I'm not saying nobody will opt out tonight or tomorrow, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think these guys want to finish strong, you know.
Do you also wish that you could have a bowl now? Well, you wanted a bowl in the first place.
Yeah, you know, but I thought, I don't think I know it's the right decision. If we were going to have a one-year bowl ban, to take it this year, there's no question it's the right decision.
Why this year?
Well, I just think that, you know, with the team that we have, however we end up 5-5, hopefully we end up 5-5, even record, you know, that's not good enough to go to a bowl in my opinion. No, you want to be 11-1, 10-2, 12-0, and going to college football playoffs. That's the standard of LSU.
Ed, you and Deion Smith's mentor, Shea Hodge, obviously you guys go back a long way to Ole Miss. I guess just kind of, I mean, you recruited him too. I guess talk through your relationship with him and how important he was in this process.
Shea's like one of my sons. Has always kept in touch with me. Outstanding young man. I love him. He's the one that texted me about Deion maybe last year this time. And I started recruiting him, and I saw a lot of Justin Jefferson in him, more developed in high school. than Justin. And Shay and I just always remain good friends. And I know that at the end, Shay's parents and his relationship with his parents, his relationship with Deion, brought him to LSU.
Thank you.
You touched on this last night at your radio show, but if we could get it again here tonight, just the idea of the foxhole guys, the few that remain and stayed committed through all this. Because I mean, you had some guys that really could have thrown in the towel and might have been better off for it. I don't know, but just the idea that this team, will this be a team that you really always kind of remember for that?
Yeah, look, I told him that. This is a special group of men, special group of coaches, special group of players. And opting out was not an option, I don't think, for them. It just wasn't. And that's the way they were. And I know it got tougher sometimes, but, I think we all learned a life lesson. Tough time never lasts, tough people do. And to see the elation on everybody's face in the swamp was worth every second.
Hey, Coach, I got two recruiting-related questions. First of all, you mentioned this earlier around stage Ryan. He's one of 19 guys, but can you expound on just he committed right before the Auburn game, I believe. So that really turned out to be a bad weekend, but you got good news from him. What made it so impactful? You feel like on the class?
Well, I think he's the number one safety in the country. We needed him. We needed safeties. I went out and said we didn't need safety, and there's one in our backyard, and he was about to slip away, and we all know he was fixing to slip away too. We had to fight. And I got to give credit for Kevin Falk. And maybe, 2 or 3 years ago, we lost those players. And they win championships in another state. And we got to fight that. And for the most part, this year we did that.
And second of all, you mentioned all the things that you did without in recruiting. How about the in-home meals?
Yeah. I kept my weight down. Yeah.
Coach, you and Lane Kiffin are such good friends, and your personalities seem to be a little bit different. Do you get a kick out of him, the way he's able to kind of mess with people and get people worked up? And do you have any stories about that along his side?
I have many stories, man. The guy's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal recruiter. He's a phenomenal people person. He's fun to be around. He just has something. He just captures the whole room. He's a piece of work, but people forget when he's in the room. I guarantee you, he's the smartest guy in the room. There's no question about that.
Coach, you guys have had a relationship with Maason Smith for several years now on this recruiting trail. What can you say you've seen from him in terms of the work he's done physically and on his game through the years, and what are your kind of expectations for him from now until he's with you guys?
I've seen him grow up into a man. He came in, I don't know if he was at 9th or 10th grade. He stayed at the camp all week. Some guys come to camp for a practice or two and they leave. He stayed the whole week, him and his whole defensive line, the whole time, whatever that time was. And the next year he keep on getting better and better. Then he lost some weight. We'd be calling him. He was on the keto diet or whatever and losing weight. And, he played a lot quicker in his senior year. I think he's going to be a dominant football player and a team captain for our football team. He was always on the phone recruiting, talking to other guys, has a great personality. Just excited about it.
I got a couple of questions. One is, what do you think is it's a big day for the defense tomorrow for you guys.
Yeah.
What do you think is the key for them to kind of, again, continue their improved play?
No bust. Number one, keep the ball in front of us. Stay between the goalpost and the man and tackle. Now, Lane likes to run the football. We're going to have to stop the run. He knows how to run the ball with different shifts and motions. It's a hurry up. It's the fastest offense we got. Corral is an excellent quarterback. But the thing that hurts you is the deep balls. Now, he's going to find some spots now. He knows what to do. You can watch the Alabama game. I thought that was a great game he called. He was on fire. Look, man, and I've been at Ole Miss. This is their red letter game. They're going to come in here and fire. I told the team that. We have to play our best game.
And then offensive linemen, why are they so hard to find now? Is it just guys, like you said before, 7-on-7, they want the glory, defense is easier to play? get after the ball every time offensive line. It's hard.
Yeah, you know, it's different. It's different to find nowadays, especially the guys we're looking for, but they're out there. They're out there. You know, look at Alabama's offensive line. That was an outstanding offensive line. I promise you I tried to recruit every one of those guys. And, you know, so we just got to get them. And they're out there, we got to get them.
Back to Maason Smith, and I know you consider all 19 kids that signed sort of sons for you because you develop relationships. But Maason Smith maybe reflects a different type of recruit, and I know the competitor in you, this is your backyard,
Yeah.
this is a lineman.
Yeah.
How hard, more so did you go after him to secure it?
That's a must get right there. I mean, you know, hey, you can't lose that one. No way. And I thought about that. You know, I thought about it. Defensive lineman. He's from Terrebonne. I'm from South Lafourche. A lot of connections down there. But I tell you, that wasn't the deciding factor. The deciding factor was his relationship with Christian Lacouture, his love for Louisiana. I think he always wanted to play for LSU.
Okay, thank you for your time, Coach.
All right, guys, go Tigers.